Hello again, Year 8. So hopefully now you've managed to work out your profit for making and selling 50 cookies or muffins, and another profit figure for making or selling 80 muffins or cookies. Okay, and I'll look forward to seeing those. Now, the other thing that I want you to do this week is think about something that we call break-even point, and I'm going to introduce that to you now with this same example. So what we need to do for break-even point is these calculations here, and I'm going to talk you through them, and hopefully through talking you through these you'll get an understanding of what we mean by break-even point. So first of all, our price per cookie or muffin is the first thing I'm going to put in. So if you remember from earlier, that was 50 pence per cookie. For my example, you'll have a different price based on what you've decided on your price to be. So I've got a price of 50 pence, and then the variable cost per cookie or muffin. Remember, that's essentially the cost for ingredients. That's the cost that's going to increase the more cookies I make. And that for me was 13 pence or £0.13. Okay, so this time, rather than saying, okay, this is how many cookies I'm going to try to make and sell, we're going to work out what we call the contribution per cookie. In other words, forgetting about my fixed costs for the moment, how much money would I get from each cookie after I've sold it and taken off the costs? So for that, I need to do the price, take away the variable cost. So 50 take away 13 pence, that works out to be 37 pence. Okay, and say if you want to use a calculator, then you're more than welcome to do so. I've not done that, but 50 take away 13 is 37 pence. So in other words, for every cookie that I manage to make and then sell, I'm getting 37 pence sort of profit, but it's not profit because we haven't counted our fixed cost in there. So we call that contribution, the amount of money that each cookie that I sell contributes to the money I end up with. Now, the fixed cost, if you remember, was £14.80, and that's independent of how many cookies or muffins I sell. So what I want to ask myself is, what's the minimum number of cookies I would need to make and sell in order to cover this fixed cost? How many would I need to make in order to pay for my fixed costs and then start to make a profit? And that's what we call the break-even point. And to work that out, I need to divide my fixed cost by my contribution. I need to see how many 0.37s fit into £14.80. So I need to do £14.80 divided by 0.37. Okay, so I'll do that on my calculator now. So that's 14.80. Obviously I don't need to put the 0 in there when I'm using a calculator, but I have done, divided by 0.37 equals 40. That's a nice round number there. So that's 40 there. So what does that 40 tell me? Well, that 40 tells me how many cookies. It's not £40, that's 40 cookies. It's saying that I need to sell 40 cookies in order to break even. Okay, so the final thing I want you to do for task 2 is to write a sentence to describe what the break-even point tells me in this setting. So the break-even point tells me that I need to sell 40 cookies in order to cover my fixed costs and end up with exactly 0 profit. Okay, if I were to sell less than 40 cookies at this car boot sale or summer fair, then I would end up making a loss. Okay, I would end up not making profit. I would end up losing money on it because I wouldn't have covered the £14.80 with all the cost, all the money that I get from selling cookies. If I manage to sell more than 40 cookies, then I manage to make a profit. And we can see that that fits with what we worked out earlier on, that for 50 cookies I get a profit of £3.70. For 80 cookies I get £14.80. Okay, if I sold 40 cookies I would get exactly zero profit, and you could go back and work that out using the profit calculations and see that that was true. So that's what we call break-even point. So breaking even is when you've exactly met all your costs with the money that you get in from sales, and therefore you get exactly zero profit. If you've managed to do that quite quickly, have a go at the questions for task 3. That is a should rather than a must task, so you don't have to do that, but it'd be nice to see your answers for that and get you thinking a little bit more about what profit and break even are about. And if you want to, there's also a task 4 that you can have a go at to do a little bit more research and think a little bit more about break even and profit in the bigger setting of if you were running not just a stall at a car boot sale or a summer fair, but if you were actually running a shop.